This is the Generation Report. Angelo Codevilla was an Italian-born American Foreign Service officer, government official, professor of international relations, research fellow, and author. In an essay published in the American Spectator in the summer of 2010, Codavilla observed that the U.S. government's response to the recent financial crisis had led Americans to start, in his words, referring to those in and around government as the ruling class. Many writers and scholars going back decades have described the separation, both physical and psychological, of American elites from ordinary citizens. But Codavilla stands out, not only for giving this group a name and for defining its outer characteristics, but for giving it a collective psychological profile so detailed, he was able to anticipate the course of future events with a foresight that can only be described as eerie. Writing and speaking about America's ruling class would be the focus of Codavilla's work until his death in 2021. Here are a few samples of Codavilla's writings through the years. A uniform class now presides over nearly all federal and state government bureaucracies, over the media, the educational establishment, and major corporations. Whether formally in government, out of it, or halfway, America's ruling class speaks the language and has the tastes, habits, and tools of bureaucrats. It rules uneasily over the majority of Americans not oriented to government. While the ruling class thinks that Americans are unfit to run their own lives, most Americans have noticed that our ruling class has lost every war it has fought, run up an unpayable national debt, and generally made life worse. Dismissal of the American people's intellectual, spiritual, and moral substance is the very heart of what our ruling class is about. Its principal article of faith, its claim to the right to decide for others, is precisely that it knows things scientifically and operates by standards beyond others' comprehension. Our ruling class has substituted vehement assertion for truth, cast aside argument, foreclosed questions, celebrated its own deed, and vowed to persist in it. The ruling class having chosen raw power over law and persuasion, the American people reasonably concluded that raw power is the only way to counter it, and looked for candidates who would do that. What matters a lot is that our ruling class does not deal and will never again deal with their opponents as fellow citizens. The more time that passes since my first encounter with Strauss and Howe's ideas in my 20s, the more I realize how many outcomes they didn't anticipate because of complexities they didn't account for. We are in a fourth turning today, but in the pages of the fourth turning itself, you won't pick up many clues that America would someday see an insulated concentration of power within the federal government and the establishment that aligns with it, such as we have now. Never mind power that would be dispatched for its own interests against those of millions of Americans. Plainly, that's where we are. Angelo Codevilla, more than anyone else, saw this train coming. And in case you still doubt his singular contribution to our language about and our understanding of the changes we're living through, take it away, Tucker Carlson.
America is still a great country, the best in the world, but our ruling class is disgusting. They maintain their rule by bullying, even as they place themselves outside the bounds of criticism. They've watched the country decline as they have ascended, just as the rest of us have watched. They know what they've done. And even I have concluded it might be worth taking just 10 minutes out of your busy schedule to say a prayer for the future, and I hope you will.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoy this series, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share the series with as many people as you can. I'm Paul Zimi Finn. May God bless America.